What's up, gentlemen of MGTOW? This is The Truth, back at you with another video yet again. And in this video, I want to talk about the topic of prostitution and marriage. Are they the same, and what are the differences? So, as always, I wrote down a few things so that way I can discuss this properly. And I actually found it quite interesting. So what I did is I wrote down the definition of prostitution. So prostitution is the practice or occupation of engaging in sexual activity with someone for payment, right? That's basically what prostitution is. So let's read what the definition of marriage is. So this is what it has to say about marriage. The legally or formally recognized union of two people as partners in a personal relationship, historically and in some jurisdictions specifically a union between a man and a woman. Okay, so they sound completely different, right? So basically, like I said before, prostitution is engaging in or having an occupation for engaging in sexual activity with men in exchange for money. So, there is one law in the marriage law that I have to point out now that you have that in your mind about what prostitution is. So, now I want to read you one of these laws for marriage, and you can decide for yourself if you think this is a form of prostitution. It is giving one spouse or his or her family control over the other spouse's sexual services, labor, and property. Right? So think about that for a second. Giving someone control over the other spouse's sexual services. Okay, and then prostitution, the occupation of engaging in sexual activity with someone for payment. Okay, so now some people may be wondering, how does this have anything in common with prostitution? Well, take for example, what do you got to do whenever to get married to a woman? First of all, you got to meet them, then you got to, whenever you take them on a date, right? So you take them on a date. What are you doing by tradition whenever you take a woman on a date? You are what? You are paying for her conversation. You are paying for her time. You are paying for her dinner, for her drink, for anywhere that she wants to go, whatever you want to do with her or for her. You are paying for it, correct? And that's just dating, right? So you also have to take in consideration whenever it comes to marriage. What do you got to do? Well, for one, wedding planning costs money. The cake costs money. Buying her a wedding dress costs money. You know, getting the ceremony set up costs money, right? None of this shit's free. You got to think about that. All right. So basically, after all that, you get married, then you are also paying for the honeymoon. Later on down the line, you're paying for the anniversary. And, you know, if you decide that it doesn't work out, or she decides that it doesn't work out, you are also stuck paying a divorce, a divorce cost, correct? So really, whenever you think about it, you are paying for her sexual services, her labor, and property, right? Is that a fair comparison? A woman who is a prostitute, her job is to engage in sexual activity with someone for payment. And in marriage, you are paying to put your name on a contract to a woman for her sexual services, labor, and property. Right? Hopefully this is starting to make a little bit of sense to somebody. Alright, but that is not all. See, the thing is, marriage is 100 times better than prostitution for women. But why would I possibly say this? Well, I have plenty of reasons. See, this is the thing about marriage, is most men are stupid because they think once they get married, they wear the pants in the house. They think, that they're the man, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my ego is through the fucking roof. I finally got what I wanted. Now I'm finally where I'm at, and, possibly based on religious beliefs, the woman is in subjection to the man. No. You do not have the pants on. No. You have no power. If anything, everything you had has been stripped from you once you signed that fucking contract. Once you officially got married to this woman, you're going to see her ass change. She's going to go from this angelic creature that you could not resist into this hateful, evil bitch who will not stop complaining. Because marriage is only about the woman. It is not about the man. Marriage benefits no man in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. Even you ask any woman what marriage is, and they'll say, oh, this is a special moment for the woman. You ask any of them, they'll agree. I've asked this, and that's what was told to me by a woman. Okay? Alright, so yeah, I think that's a good source to get it from. So yeah. So basically the guy's just there to pay for it. So now, once she turns into this evil bitch, alright? So let me scroll down. Once she turns into this evil bitch, she is going to nag the fuck out of you. She is intentionally going to irritate you. She has you right where she wants you. She has you by the dick and the balls, and she's fucking you with a strap on. Plain and simple. Okay? That's what marriage really is. Marriage is nothing more than voluntary slavery. And any simp, white knight, they will disagree, but they don't mind being a slave. They're conditioned by tradition to be a slave. To be the provider, the protector, I'm gonna do everything I can for this woman. I love this woman. Fuck my life. Now it's all about her. It's no longer about me. Fuck my joy. Fuck my personal wants, my needs. Everything has to be dedicated to this woman in which I love. See, that's where men are stupid. And this is why. Because once she gets tired of you, and she starts all of this nagging and bitching and complaining, here is one example of something that could happen if you decide to try to run away, to walk away, to go your own way. This is one of the things that could happen. There is something called abandonment of family. And this is what it has to say about abandonment of family. The desertion refers to intentional or substantial abandonment, permanently for a period of time stated by law without legal excuse and without consent of one's duties, arising out of the status such as that of husband and wife or parent and child. It can involve desertion of a spouse with the intention of creating a permanent separation. Desertion of one spouse by the other without just cause is called malicious abandonment, and it is also considered a crime, punishable by law. Alright, so if this bitch is irritating you to the point that you just want to leave and you say fuck it, guess what? You just abandon your spouse. That's a crime. You're fucked. You're going to court. This leads to separation, right? So, here is another thing to bring up that a lot of guys really need to start taking consideration, especially if you live in the state of Missouri and a few other locations or states. There is another thing called squatters' rights. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell you exactly what squatters' rights is, because I've actually had a bitch pull this on me personally. All right. This is squatters' rights. This is the law and legal definition. A squatter's right is a legal allowance to use the property of another in the absence of an attempt by the owner to force eviction. This right may eventually be converted to title to the property over time by adverse possession if recognized by state law. In other words, if you are with a bitch and you are tired of this bitch and she has been in your place longer than a day, or she has left some of her personal belongings in your place for longer than a day, or she has received mail from your address, and it just so happens to be in your place, or if she has used your address by any means for whatever purpose, she can claim squatter rights. If you try to kick her out, it is punishment by law, and this is the thing. You will be forced to allow this woman to stay in your place, and there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Okay? Actually, there is something you can do about it, but you're not going to like it. Okay? You can forfeit your house and give it over to her. If it's an apartment, you can simply move out into another complex, or you can buy another house. But either way, you're going to lose your place if you want to get this bitch out of your life. So you have to think about that shit. Whenever it comes to marriage, whenever it comes to a relationship in general, you have to think about who you let in your place. Are you capable of trusting them? Are they trustworthy? Are they worth trusting? You have to think about this stuff. All right? So that's not even all. All right? So whenever it comes to marriage or divorce, this is something else that I have to mention that some people do not think about. Now, this is on the topic of alimony. Okay, there are multiple types of alimony, and I'm only going to list 3 because these are the 3 that are the most popular that seem to be affecting men today. Most men that have been through divorce have experienced one of these 3 types of alimony. And so, anyway, the first one is separation alimony. This type of alimony is usually ordered to be paid if a couple is separated and one is unable to be self-sufficient during the separation, such as you already know who, the woman. She is going to be the one that is going to be self-sufficient or incapable of taking care of herself, in other words. If the couple reconciles, the alimony may be stopped. Similarly, if the couple divorces legally, the separation alimony may be changed to another kind of alimony. So basically, she can separate from you and basically make you pay her to do it. You know, if she gets tired of the marriage and she decides that she wants to separate for a bit, well, she can do that, and it's at your expense. Yeah. So, there is another one called rehabilitative alimony, and which reads, in the case where one partner is not self-sufficient, rehabilitative alimony may be ordered until he or she finds the means to care for themselves and any children included. This type of alimony will likely be reviewed as intervals to check on the progress of the recipient. This kind of alimony gives the recipient time to learn valuable employment skills, seek employment, or put themselves into a position where they are earning money and are able to care for themselves. There is no set time for rehabilitative alimony to end, and it is determined based on the individual situation. For instance, a judge may determine that a father is to pay his ex-wife's alimony until their young children are able to go to school. In another example, a judge may order that alimony is paid for a period of 3 months, giving the recipient time to find a job and begin earning paychecks. Usually at the end of the period, the situation will be reviewed and appropriate changes will be made. Now, the thing about this is all technicality. Giving this bitch time to go out and find a job. So what happens whenever she doesn't go out and find a job? What's going to happen? Well, you're going to be stuck paying alimony. Plain and simple. She can live off of you. Yeah. And, in this case, if you have a kid with her, then she could lose the kid due to that situation. But honestly, that's it. I think that would be the least of a woman's worry, because you're taking stress off her hands. She can go back single, live off you, and then get with somebody else, and then repeat the process. Okay, so then there is the third type of alimony, and this one is one of the worst. This one is called permanent alimony. And this is what it has to say about permanent alimony. Permanent alimony is when the payments are to continue indefinitely. There are many reasons that a judge would order this type of alimony. One situation may be if the recipient is handicapped or unable to work and becomes self-sufficient. If the recipient married without ever gaining employment skills and has never worked but has raised children and taken care of the home, this recipient may be entitled to permanent alimony. Usually, permanent alimony will not stop unless one spouse dies. The recipient gets remarried or cohabitates with someone else. Or cohabitates. My bad. But the thing about that is, so what does this mean? This means for you men who decide that they may get with a bitch on disability, guess what? If she decides to leave you, you're stuck with permanent alimony. If she has a physical disability, if she has an autism, if she has a mental disability, if she decides to stay on her set income, if she's on a check, she can draw permanent alimony off of you until the day you die, or until she basically finds somebody else. Now, here's the thing about that is, here's the real technicality about that is, you know damn well she's not going to remarry. What is she going to do? She's going to divorce you, take 50% of everything you own with her, including a lot of your money, and she's going to stay single, collecting that permanent alimony off of you while fucking everybody else. And you are stuck paying her for the rest of your life. That is the technicality of permanent alimony. So yes, you really need to be thinking about these things. So once again, whenever you think about this, prostitution, the occupation of engaging in sexual activity with someone for payment, and basically, as I discussed previously about marriage being a form of legal prostitution, because you're basically paying for your spouse's sexual services, labor, and property. And that is very accurate. That is, to me, voluntary slavery and a form of legal prostitution. But anyway, so getting down here, not only that, people really need to be thinking about these consequences to marriage and all the bullshit that comes with it. There is another thing that you really need to be thinking about after you get married. Say you decide to have children. Well, what's next that she could fucking hit you with that already hasn't kicked you in the balls is child support law. So, let's go ahead and see what child support law has to say. So, child support law deals with the legal obligation of non-custodial parents to contribute financially to the rearing of their children. These laws are enacted at the state level. However, because a child support order remains in effect until a child reaches the age of majority, or even longer in some instances, administration of the order can become a multi-jurisdictional issue as parents and children relocate. Determinations of child support are usually incorporated into family law cases that also cover matters such as divorce, such as separation, paternity, custody, and visitation. Like other family law decrees, support determinations are subject to modification when appropriate. So let's pause for a second and focus on what I mentioned previously about permanent alimony, about separation alimony, and about, what was the other one? Rehabilitation alimony. So, divorce leads to alimony. Separation leads to alimony. If you have a kid, divorce leads to child support. Separation leads to child support. So, there you go. Child support, alimony, divorce, they are all tied into one. Most people need to be thinking about this shit, but I really don't see most people thinking about this shit because they think they're with this loyal woman who really loves them, when really this woman has manipulated you into doing the very thing that she wanted you to do. Why do you think they want you to put that damn diamond on their ring? Why do you think they want it to be so goddamn expensive? It's not because you're showing the woman how much you value her. You're telling the world what she's worth. By buying that fucking diamond. You buy her a $5,000 ring, right? Buy her a $1,000 ring, a $5,000 ring, $10,000 ring, whatever, depending on how much money you want to put on that damn rock on her arm. You know, those blood diamonds that people in Africa are basically dying to fucking do? You know, think about that. Every time she gets divorced, she gets to keep that ring. And what does that mean? That means that through society shows that this is a woman of value. Somebody was willing to spend that much money on this woman because he felt she was worth that much money. That rock. Okay? But anyway, back to the alimony, the child support, and everything else. So this is what else it had to say. The obligation to pay child support is considered to be independent of any other rights or responsibilities of the non-custodial parent. For example, it is quite common for a court to decide questions of child support and visitation at the same time, and the judge's decisions on the two issues may appear in the same order. This may lead to non-custodial parent to believe that the duty to pay support and the right to visitation are mutually dependent. They are not. Even if the custodial parent wrongfully denies visitation, support must still be paid. Withholding child support for any reason can lead to contempt of court and a host of other serious consequences. Pause. So that basically means if you refuse to pay child support, that by law they can hold you in contempt of court, or in other words, take you to jail, charge you a fine, whatever the case may be. But anyway, so let's continue. So, in an ideal world, every non-custodial parent would pay child support voluntarily. Of course, this does not always happen, and it is often necessary to take steps to enforce a support order through the court system, a local government agency, or a private attorney. Child support orders are like other types of civil judgments. They can be collected by garnishing the non-custodial parent's wages. Oh, check this out. Seizing bank accounts and other personal property, or placing a lien on real estate. Special laws also allow past support to be collected from income tax refunds. Delinquent parents may also face suspension of their driving privileges, their passports, and some professional licenses. In severe cases, a judge may decide to impose jail time as a penalty for non-payment. So, pause. So, basically, whenever it comes to this child support, by law, this woman already has you by the balls. She has already fucked you over every way possible. You tried to get rid of her. She hit you with abandonment. You try to kick her out. She claims squatter rights. You can't get rid of this bitch at all. There's nothing you can do. You done signed your life away to a contract. You thought you wore the pant. You thought you was wearing the pants, and guess what? You found out you had no pants to fucking begin with, because she manipulated you and made you do the very thing that you did not want to do. Okay? So, there you go. Now, there are workarounds for this. But is it really worth the risk? And what I'm talking about is a prenuptial agreement, in which is an agreement made by a couple before they marry concerning the ownership of their respective assets should the marriage fail. Now, yes, that is there, but even that has technicalities. But really, what you really need to be asking yourself at this point, after hearing all of this, is marriage really worth it? Is a woman really worth all of that? The possibility of that? Are you willing to take that risk? Are you willing to risk all your freedom? Are you willing to risk all of the criticism that you're going to get, all the backlash that you're going to get from her friends and family, from your friends and family, from all this, from possibly religious groups, you fucking name it? Is a woman really worth all that bullshit? Me, I say no. But, where I say nay, some may say yay. But anyway, so I also did some more research, and so this is what I found. I found the question, can a wife claim husband's property? Right? So, this is what it had to say. Only the maintenance amount and or alimony can be claimed from the other partner. 1. Do note the wife has no right of share either before or after divorce in the property of the husband. As per USA law, the wife is entitled to get 50% share of the husband's properties acquired by him after their marriage. Okay. So, think about that. Now, so I decided to ask the other question. Can a husband claim the wife's property? Alright? So, here is the answer for that. In your matter, the woman has a entitlement for maintenance only from her husband. Her children are entitled for share on her husband. The husband cannot, I repeat, cannot inherit the share of his wife as long as she is alive. That's almost like saying, hey, kill the bitch. But no, anyway, I'm not encouraging that. I'm all against it anyway. It says, if you are alive, the husband has no right over your self-acquired property or ancestral property. So let me get this right. She gets 50% of my shit, but I have no right to acquire any of her property or ancestral property, but yet she can take 50% of my shit? What? And this is marriage? Well, not marriage, divorce? Think about this, people. Think about that shit. That is so one-sided. Can you tell me out of any of this, what benefits the man by law in any way? Nothing. Nothing is beneficial towards the man. If anything, everything in the system when it comes to marriage and divorce is set against the man. If this bitch gets tired of you, there's no repercussions, there's no consequences. If she wants to divorce you, there's no consequences towards her. There's nothing that works against her. Everything is rigged to be in this bitch's favor. You know, you want to get rid of her, she hits you with neglect and abandonment. You try to kick her out, she hits you with squatter rights. If she divorces you, she hits you with alimony. If she's on disability, she hits you with permanent alimony. I mean, damn. If you have a kid, she hits you with child support. Everything that she hits you with is also punishable by law. Is that worth it? So then again, you have to ask yourself, whenever it comes to prostitution and marriage, what is the difference? Here is the difference. Whenever it comes to prostitution, it is against the law. When it is marriage, it's by the law. What is it? Sexual activity with someone for payment. What is marriage? Also, a sexual service in exchange for payment. And if you do not cooperate, if you do not do what she wants you to do, when she wants you to do it, she will complain, she will nag, she will bitch, she will drive you insane. And the second that you want out, she's ready for it. She is ready to get your ass out. She's ready to take you to court. She's ready for that settlement. She's ready to take 50% of your shit. She is ready to throw you on child support. You fucking name it. You do not wear the pants in a marriage. She does. She has already castrated your dick. And even if you decide that you want to fuck somebody else, and you do go fuck somebody else, that's also considered adultery. Which is also punishable by law. You know? There's none of this that is of any consequence to the woman. And even whenever it comes to court, you already know the fucking court is primarily in favor of the fucking woman anyway. This is why women... Now, I want you to pay attention to this and pay attention to this part well. I want people to understand why women do not want to date broke men. And it all comes down to alimony. And I'll tell you why. And this is also, keep in mind, why women will not date men on disability. Men who are disabled, I feel sorry for you, because you are, I'm not trying to be rude whenever I say this, you are going to die alone. To be honest with you, you are going to die alone. Unless you find one of them 1 to 5% chicks in the world that actually give a fuck about men, that actually care about a man, that actually want to be with one, that actually want to be loyal to one, and got with him because she actually gives a fuck about him, and does not want to manipulate him, which is a fucking dream. That's fantasy land type shit, but sometimes they do exist. But anyway, if you're on disability, no woman wants you. Why? It's for the simple fact is she's going to be making more money than you. How does alimony work? Whoever makes the most money is the one who gets stuck paying alimony. Or as Robin Williams said, all the money. That person who makes more money than the other is the one stuck paying alimony, or permanent alimony, separation alimony, rehabilitation alimony, you fucking name it. They are going to be the one stuck paying for it. If you have a low income job and she has, you know, a higher income, she's going to be stuck paying alimony if you decide to get a divorce, right? That's how it basically works. That's why women do not want to get with a broke man or a man on disability, is because whenever it comes to divorce, they will lose. You have to think about that. That's why they're always trying to get with a man who, these people, 6-figure salaries, they want this lawyer, this doctor, this, you name it. The ones with high-paying jobs, they will take them before they take you. Even if they are a complete asshole to them, they will take them. Not because they give a fuck about them, because they will have them by the balls. And even in Bible terms, where it says the woman's supposed to be in subjection to the man by law, the man is going to be forced to be in subjection to the woman. There is no fucking benefit to that for the man. It is a fucking trap. And that's just me being honest. That's why they will not date. That's why they mostly, will not date a guy who makes less than them. Have you ever noticed whenever a woman approaches you, she for some reason seems to be interested in your hobbies and what you like to do, where you work? It's not because she's interested in what your job is. She's trying to find out how much you make to decide if you are worth getting with. So that way she can find out if she can milk you for everything that you got. And to make sure that she can win an alimony case against you. And I know people think I'm probably being a bit extreme, but there are bitches these days. There are women these days that are doing this because they know that they can get away with it, and the system is rigged to help them get away with it legally. That is literally how it works. I'm not saying all women are like this. I'm not going to say everybody's the same. But considering the time we are in today, with the feminist movement, with the Me Too movement, with these women, these bitches always talking about equality and equal rights and bullshit, equal pay. This falls under that shit. This all has everything to do with that. And this is also why I say that prostitution and marriage are the same, but there are differences. There is the illegal prostitution, which is the very definition of prostitution, and then there is the legal form of prostitution, in which is called marriage. Because no matter how you look at it, in the end, you're still paying to have sexual relationship with somebody. The pro to having an actual prostitute is you pay for it, by, one time by the hour or whatever. You get what you want, you kick the bitch out. Whenever it comes to marriage, you are stuck with this bitch, and she is literally going to be your worst nightmare for a very long time, and she is not going to let you forget her. Because by the time you're done paying for all this shit, you won't never be able to forget this bitch. And you know what? That's why that's another reason why I am also representing MGTOW. Is for these reasons. Marriage, like I said, is a trap that has no benefit to any man. There is no reason to get married. If you are with a woman who is your best friend, then keep it that way. There is no reason to marry her. If you truly love this woman, you want to keep this woman in your life, do not turn somebody that you care about into your wife. For the simple fact is that once you do, you are about to lose your friend. Because eventually, you're going to grow tired of each other. Eventually, it's going to lead to a divorce or a separation. The alimony is going to turn you envious towards one another. It's going to turn you spiteful and hateful to each other. And then at the end of this, you're no longer going to care about one another. The only thing you're going to want to do is get this bitch out of your life as fast as you can and never look back again. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was insightful to those who may have not have known about this kind of shit. I just wanted to try to help you understand, what the similarities are in prostitution and marriage. And I know people be like, well, it sounded more like I was talking about divorce. No, marriage and divorce are tied. They're linked to each other, just like child support. It's all a part of one. That's literally what it is. But anyway, this is just a message from the truth, from me to you, to inform you, to warn you of the consequences of your actions. to warn you of the dangers that may come with doing this, with getting married. Okay? So, I hope I was able to help somebody with this. I hope I was able to open an eye. So thank you all for watching. This is the truth. If you like this video, then please give me a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with everybody that you think this may help. And I will catch you in my next video.